Welcome to the Motoring Podcast, recharging around Britain on Thursday, the 16th of July, 2026. Hello, I'm Alan.
Hello, I'm Andrew, and on this review of Day 4, you'll learn how we prefer charging lesser times than a decade ago, average petrol prices at motorways are how much, and the sun does shine in Scotland. We've seen it.
Well, I've seen it always shines in Scotland. How dare you? How dare you assume that it does anything else? Yeah, the everyday recap of what we're doing. It's 10 years since we first did charging around Britain. And we want to find out, is it easier or is it harder? Have the cars improved? And has the charging infrastructure improved? I think the fact that we are sitting here in a hotel room in Inverness at, 20 past 6 in the evening, as opposed to last time when we got into Inverness at about 20 past midnight on the equivalent day, gives you a fair clue as to how we think it's going.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we stopped and did I had non-podcast stuff to do today, and we stopped and did that on the way.
He did.
That gives you a rough idea of how it was. This is, of course, the anniversary of the day we actually learned how to drive an electric car.
I know. I feel like we should have fish supper as a celebration.
You know what? If there was any, I might even just do that. I might have fish and chips for tea tonight. It won't be quite the same as having it sitting at Broxden services in Perth like we did last time. But there we go. Today we have driven, as you might have guessed, to Inverness from Washington, Tyne and Weir via Perth and Aberdeen. I would say Dundee, but we didn't go by Dundee because we took a different route.
And wherever we stopped, just over the bridge.
Kinross was one of our stops,
yeah.
But really, Kinross isn't really worth mentioning, as anybody who's ever been anywhere near Kinross will probably agree. But yes, we did. We had 4 charging stops today, because I can't add up. We charged first thing this morning, just up the road from the hotel at Washington services on the A1 going northbound. Kinross, we charged at West Hills, just outside Aberdeen, just on the bypass there. And the car is currently charging at the northernmost car charging on the Gridserve network, just a 5-minute walk along the road.
Yep.
From here, as we record. At least I hope it is. I can't check. What else? We have cut. Oh, I haven't added up how many miles we've covered.
Many.
It's around about 400 anyway.
Yeah.
Easily. Yeah, around about 400. I got the top score that we've had so far today. So far on this trip, with 4.7 miles per kilowatt from West Hills to Inverness. The bad traffic helped a lot with that.
To be fair, it wasn't the leg of the journey you put it in eco either. So, this was under normal conditions as opposed to the eco one where you were trying to get that figure.
Yeah. But it was a lot to do with the road and a lot to do with the traffic. What else? What else have we learned today? We learned that the Insta has battery preconditioning. We have been trying to do what we are doing right now, which is we charge the evening before, basically so we can get up and get out. We're both much more of a sort of get up and go type in the morning people.
Yep.
And also we're charging the battery when the battery is warmed up, when the car is warmed up. So the battery is all ready to accept charge. It was an interesting test this morning because it was only a couple of miles from, but it was less than that if we'd gone the right way, but it was only a couple of miles from the hotel to the charger, and the car was cold. So we made sure, even though I thought I knew exactly how to get there, we made sure we had the charging point as a destination. The car immediately noticed that and went, oh, hang on, my battery's not conditioned enough for this. And it preconditioned.
Yep.
It preconditioned the battery so that whenever we plugged it in, it just behaved as it does normally once you've had it. It was sort of started off and it ramped up. The charge curve ramped up incredibly quickly.
Yes.
Other thing we noticed is the Insta has a heat exchanger, heat pump built in so that it actually can heat up quite quickly using as little battery power as possible. We noticed just how quickly that the cabin was getting quite toasty by the time we had to stop, and that was only 2 to 3 miles of driving, which is unusual. Also got electric heated front seat. It doesn't have electric front seats. It's got heated front seats, and we didn't use those because we didn't need to. You've got both. just now. Other things to mention today, after most of the talking, I'm so sorry. We also had to move outside the cosy embrace of our sponsor, Gridserve.
Yes.
And I had to charge using iHonesty in Aberdeen. That was just as uneventful,
Yes.
to be perfectly frank, as using Gridserve. The app works in a pretty much similar way. It takes Apple Pay as well, all the same kind of stuff. So that worked quite nicely. Charged well. It was a 350 kilowatt charger. The 85 that the Insta can take was no trouble. So it just goes in, it just maxes out, and it just does its stuff.
Yep.
Last thing to talk about today, I think, is costs. We asked about costs because we've not really mentioned it the last few days, and there's a good reason for that. The good reason is that I, frankly, haven't had any time with a spreadsheet to work it out. We get in the evening, I cannot be bothered. I'm sorry. That is how it is. The plan really is to talk, I'll do a proper breakdown of costs whenever we do the live stream.
Yeah.
We're doing the follow-up. That kind of thing is one of the reasons we've decided to leave it a week, so that we can actually prep that sort of stuff and share it. Just to give some kind of answer, though.
Yes, because thank you for the question.
Because it's a good question. Remember that we are not using the cheapest chargers. I mean, they are to us, because Gridserve is sponsoring us, but it is costing per mile about the same as it costs me to run the GRMN. It only ever uses Tesco 99. It gets 35 to 40 miles per gallon on the journey. It's that kind of cost. Now, bear in mind with this, there's a couple of things. I only use supermarket fuel, as if I can get away with it, decent supermarket fuel in the car, and in the GRMN. And also, we are charging at motorway services. It is not the cheapest way to do this. And we are charging, and that cost that I've worked out is if you don't have any membership. So if you don't have, for example, to take a hypothetical one, Gridserve Plus that I've been talking about all week, or any of the iHonesty ones, or any deals that you get via your home energy provider, if you have an EV charger at home, or any of these things, it's the absolute basic, you're using the app. That can be a little bit cheaper than tapping the card.
Yes.
So do be aware of that. But using the app with no fancy memberships, that's what the prices are all worked out at. It is working out. I likened it to the GRMN. That's not a very good thing. But if you were running a normal hatchback, a normal B-segment hatchback, and you were driving it normally, and you were filling up only on the motorways, or as it's going to be tomorrow, only in rural Scotland, then that's the kind of price it's coming in at, with no discounts, none of the things that anyone sensible would do on this.
No, I don't think that's true, because I think your GRMN the Grim is good because the range is roughly the same.
That is quite true, actually.
So a number of times you need to refuel charge are going to be very similar. If you've got a Corsa 1.2, you're going to have a much longer range.
Yes, but even if you're just charging on the motorway, it's the cost.
No, I know that it will still be expensive.
Yeah.
But you will go further and have less refueling.
I will do a proper breakdown of all of this, and we'll present it back at the live stream, just so that everybody knows. And we'll talk about, for example, how much we could have saved using Gridserve Plus, or any of these other ways of getting money off.
Yeah.
The more I look at it, I'm going to say it's complex. Okay, I'm not saying it's complicated. It's complex. There is a slight difference there, and I think it's one of these things that when you're standing on the outside, it looks like a terrible Gordian knot of complexity.
It's not far off when you're on the inside until you have to start working it out, until you're forced to work it out.
Realise it takes time to realise, and that's what we're telling you now, is that once you know stuff, it's much easier. In that if, I think it's harder when you're looking to buy an electric car than it is when you have an electric car, or you have custody of an electric car in this case, where I'm looking at it and going, well, actually, my home energy provider would give me this. If I had a charging unit at home, this would be a side effect of that. Or even if I don't have a charging unit, I can, any months I have an EV, or I am doing many, many miles in an EV, my $7.99, my $5.99, my $10.99, depending on what it is, Ionic runs as a number of different levels that might work better for you. Then then you start to see how you do it. I mean, the nice thing about Gridserve Plus is you can have it, you cannot have it. You can just join for that month. For a week of doing this, we could have paid $79.99. And at the end of this, I'll work out how much we could have saved. And it will be a lot of money, actually. Knowing, how many charges we've done and so on, they've been costing.
And again, what we're doing is in a very extreme case. This is not normal. Because the other thing that adds to complexity, the type of person who would potentially need to use as many rapid charges or ultra rapid charges in a day like we are is someone who is traveling a lot, which is a small minority, etc. And this is where we're saying it's complex. There's lots of different moving parts. There's lots of things to go into a decision tree.
We're going to drive 3,000 miles a month every month is not the use case for having any electric vehicle.
No.
That's when you have a diesel.
Yes.
Okay? Let's be very clear about that. We are doing something silly.
Yeah.
It is not really good practice or best practice.
Yeah.
But it's possible.
Yes.
And the possibility is I think, the important part in all that. Yeah. I'll say that again tomorrow whenever we reach Fort William.
Okay. Yeah.
That will be the big telling point. That is a good point. Tomorrow is Fort William is the end of day.
Yes.
Starting from here in Inverness, going up the east coast to Wicken to John O'Groats, and then heading across the top of the country, most of the way across the top, taking the diagonal down past Legg, Ullapool, and down to Fort William. It's probably going to end up being Ullapool, Drummer's Rocket, on Loch Ness, and then down Fort Augustus, Fort William, which is going to be quite long.
Yes, so hence we want the car charged tonight,
quite
so
long,
we can get up and go.
The chargers aren't as powerful, maybe, as the ones that we've been using. We've got to play it a lot more by ear. I think it's been quite easy, relatively easy for us so far. Now we can bounce from Gridserve to Gridserve.
I think we might be trying to drive in eco.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
Yeah, especially once we've charged up in Wick. I think it's going to be a case of maybe hitting the eco button, taking it steady. We know where we'd quite like to charge, but again, whether the possibility of that is a bit variable. Hopefully we'll have a little more charge coming into Ullapool than we did the last time.
Yeah.
But again, the number of charges that we actually been making has been pretty much half.
Yeah.
Or thereabouts. Just have faith. I mean, did I say about the danger and excitement earlier on? I don't think I did.
You did not know.
No. Oh, we almost had. We know chaos makes content. As you can tell, there's not been a lot of chaos so far, hence we're talking about costs and numbers. But we had the low battery light come on at 20%. It meant that we pulled into Kinross services with about the 17 to 20 miles of range that the car had been predicting ever since we left Washington. It was absolutely, this is how far it's going to be, this is how much energy you're going to use. And that was what happened. In fact, on the way up, it was trying to put us in an extra charging stop. And on the way up, on the drive up, it recalculated and decided we didn't need that extra charging stop.
Yeah. At no point was any of that a concern, because we knew how far we had to go. We knew how much range we had. We had confidence in the information the car was giving us in what it had. So we just, it's easy, but we're easy going to make it, and we did.
Yep. We're still loving the car, by the way. I think we're loving the car a little bit more each day, to be honest.
Yes. It's tricky not to love it. Big car feel, drives well. The tech you need, it's not got a massive footprint as well. Plenty of room on the inside.
I can still park like an idiot in it, though.
Well, we all can, so don't worry.
I think that's pretty much us for today. Parish notes again, just saying we were originally going to do a live stream as soon as we finished. We're not going to do that. We're going to delay it a week, just so that we're prepped, we're organised. We've got the appropriate bits of paperwork and stuff sorted.
Mm-hmm.
Which leads me purely to the end. So, folks, don't forget that between now and tomorrow, you can give us any feedback and share your thoughts for the show at Motoring Podcast on Blue Sky, at Motoring Podcast on Instagram and Facebook, and on the contact page of www.motoringpodcast.com, the hub of all our activities. Remember, you can support us financially via Patreon, and please leave a review and rating on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or however your podcast app lets you do such a thing. Andrew, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
This week, the best way to get in touch with me is via Blue Sky if you search for Cracked Windscreen. And Alan, if people would like to get in touch with you personally, what's the best way for them to do that?
Blue Sky again, where I'm at AJP Bradley. That's BRADLEY.bsky.social. As I said, we'll be back tomorrow. But until then, I've been Alan Bradley.
I've been Andrew Clues.
And safe motoring.